We are here in Napier, New Zealand. We just got done with our city tour and our aquarium tour. So we have few minutes to kind of check out the area. There's black pebbles everywhere. Oh, there's a whole bunch of birds on that side. There's the aquarium. We were just there. Feel the water, see how cold it is. That's a beautiful park right next to the aquarium. A whole bunch of pine trees lined up next to the shore. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Go, go. See, look at these two birds here. Mom, look, look, look. That one keeps feeding that other bird. Yeah.
Those are rather strong waves.
These are powerful coastal waves that are constantly crashing against the shoreline. This shoreline is composed of dark volcanic pebbles that originate from the erosion of inland volcanic rocks and are washed up onto the shore. Next to the aquarium is the beautiful park that stretches along the shoreline called Marine Parade. The park features extensive open spaces overlooking the Pacific Ocean. The trees that you see along the shoreline are called Norfolk Island pines. They are known for their perfectly symmetrical branches, vertical trunks, and high tolerance to coastal winds and salty sea spray. We are on our way to check out one of the attractions here at the park, which is the Millennial Arch. The sculpture was designed by an artist named David Trubridge. It was placed here by the Napier City Council Millennium Subcommittee to mark the beginning of the third millennium. Napier claims that it was one of the first cities that saw the light of the new millennium, and this sculpture marks the spot where the sun rose by following a vertical line from top of the rock through the center of the arch and where it intersects with the horizon.
There's the aquarium in the far distance.
Good morning everyone, my name's Mike and I'll be your driver for the next hour or so as we take in the sights of Napier. A little bit about the port here. The port itself does around 5 million tonnes per year, 3.5 million of that are logs. While there's no trucks to be seen at the minute, I can tell you there's about 500 of them coming here per day. The Hawke's Bay here is known for its orchards and vineyards. We grow about 80% of all the New Zealand apples are grown in the Hawke's Bay region, and we're the second largest wine growing region in New Zealand, second only to the top of the South Island, Marlborough. Napier here has a population of around 67,500 people. Napier was prone to a bit of flooding and rough weather, so they built that sea wall. But as a result of the earthquake, the land that we're travelling on now rose up about 8 feet, and so the new wall is kind of superfluous, really. But gives you some idea of how much land rose up out of the sea. Some 4,000 hectares rose up, and we'll see more of that as we go around. On our left is the sunken garden, and that's to commemorate the level of Napier prior to the earthquake. So that was ground level down there. We have some 250 kilometres of cycle track and walkways. There's one obviously just immediately to our left, but there's another one a bit further over on the seaward side. Very popular this time of year. It's one of the first cities in the world to see the light of the new day. And so that arch, if you take a vertical line from the centre of that dome, line it up with the rock below, where that vertical line intersects with the horizon is the point at which the sun rose on the 1st of January year 2000. And we claim here in Napier to be the first country in the world. Coming up on our left is called the Six Sisters, 6 identical buildings. There's the legend that says around the year 1900 a sea captain had 6 daughters, and he built those 6 houses for his 6 daughters. But as we all know, if you had 6 daughters, you wouldn't have money enough to go building 6 houses. So the reality, I think, is that a developer had one house designed and just copied that design for the other 5. The earthquake of 1931 totally destroyed the city of Napier and just flattened everything. And a lot of concrete buildings were just destroyed because they did not have reinforcing in the concrete, so that was the end of them. And the wooden buildings, it was thought that the fire started as a result of 2 pharmacies that were here at the time that used Bunsen burners to melt wax, and the line fractured and the fire started in the pharmacies. And because of the infrastructure damage, there was no water supply to put anything out, so a lot of the buildings were dynamited to try and contain the fire. There were 2 buildings that did survive the earthquake, and one of them is immediately on our left, that country hotel, the county hotel, sorry. And it survived because it did have reinforcing in it. It was still damaged, but it was repaired, as opposed to everything else was just destroyed. We're on Shakespeare Road, and Shakespeare Road was the main road through to the port, and there used to be tram lines running up here, but the earthquake buckled and damaged the tram lines beyond repair, and the tram wasn't making any money anyway, so they brought that to an end. These houses are workers' cottages, pretty much back then, and even though the earthquake lasted 2.5 minutes, these houses would have had a fair old shake and rattled and rolled, and about 2.5 minutes later they settled back pretty much in position, and with relatively minor damage. A few chimneys were dislodged and damaged. Now this part of town is called Ahuriri, which in Maori means Napier, and one of the nicer parts of town. You can see some nice modern housing through here. There used to be a lot of these older places, but rates increases and developers move in and slowly gobble up the older houses. The houses further around to our right, not all the way around, but these ones sort of just slightly off to our right, They have only been built since the earthquake because that's all part of the land that rose up out of the sea. So prior to 1931 there were no houses over there. We're just coming up to the inner harbour entrance, and out to your right there's a little building out there. It's used as the by the sailing club as the starters box, but it's also known as Perfume Point because that was the sewer outlet many years ago. I'm told we have about 2,000 earthquakes a year. I've lived here for 25 years. I might have felt 2 of them. So yeah, they're always happening, but never enough that anyone would ever feel them. We just, you wake up in the morning, you hear on the news that there was some 3 point something or other earthquake somewhere that did no damage at all.
We learned so much about the history of Napier, particularly about the earthquake that struck Napier in 1931. Lasting for about 2.5 minutes, the 7.8 magnitude tremor killed hundreds of people and remains the deadliest natural disaster in the history of New Zealand.